All right. Let's see if this is heard a little bit better. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. All right, let me know when you guys are back. Sorry about that. What's up, Sham? Glad to see you're in here. I didn't think you'd make it. I sound good, right, guys? 17-year-old Blu-ray collector. Do I have sound now? Everything good? Sure you guys could hear me now. All right. I don't know what happened. What's up, Kevin? We can hear you. I don't know. For some reason, there was nothing wrong with the mic. It was something with the stream. I had to go back in and fix it. See what happens when you're watching this stuff and not Guardians, Money Plane, and/or Suburban Sasquatch. I have to look into what Suburban Sasquatch is, Raiden. I have no idea. Back again, guys. Yep, 1 a.m. here, mate. So be heading to bed soon, LOL. Well, we'll start this movie in a few minutes, so at least you can hear the beginning, Shamrock, and then you can watch the rest on the replay. It'll be like a commentary track anyway. I'll just be talking over it and telling Freddie sent you nice. I'm back. Nah, I'm gonna send out this new link on YouTube. So, not on YouTube, on X, Twitter, I guess. They'll figure it out, right? Maybe it'll redirect them. So we'll wait a few more extra minutes now since we had the stream all screwed up. So we'll wait like 2 more minutes and then we'll start the movie. Let me actually get it all set up right now. Put it on the theatrical version. This actually is this is the version that Shamrock actually, he's the one who told me about it originally. The edition that came in the 4K. That's the version that I'm going to be watching. So let me get it all ready to go, all geared up and put into motion. Play feature. I'll tell you though, I kind of miss that brightness of the 4K. 7 p.m. here, man. Oh, okay. So you're about an hour behind me, 17th year Blu-ray collect. Lord Raider on Suburban Sasquatch is the perfect combination of incompetence meeting ambition to create a film. I guess that's true. Next month we should do watch Die Hard. Kevin, that's honestly, I was trying to think of a Christmas movie we should watch, and if anyone in here disagrees that Die Hard isn't a Christmas movie, you might be wrong because Die Hard is absolutely a Christmas film. So hold on a second because this is starting. I don't want to start that without us all being here and ready to go. Is this the Blu-ray with the theatrical version? Yep, this is the one, Shamrock, the one that came in the set. You have this one, I think it's just in the Blu-ray, the Studio Canal version right here. That's the version I'll be watching the Blu-ray in this, and I won't be watching the 4K. I can't believe Studio Canal did this transfer. And honestly, Terminator 3 potentially maybe also. Hey John, what's up? What's up, Thomas Anderson? Just saw Die Hard on MGM Plus last night. Lord Raiden said, Die Hard's a classic. I usually like to start the Christmas season off with Die Hard, and I usually put my tree up after the day after Thanksgiving here in the United States. So I put the tree up, and then the next day we after that we watch Die Hard, start the Christmas movie season off right, since it's also an action movie and you know the argument. But this year, unfortunately, I have to start it off with Scrooge with the 4K Blu-ray because I had to review that. So we had to watch Scrooge last night, put the tree up all in anticipation of Christmas season here. 4K sucks, Rogue One said. I know, man. I hate that 4K, and I have it twice. Tell him Freddie sent you wrote. I'm rushing the 20. I'm using the 2018 Blu-ray. Shower Rose. They love that Studio Canal theme on their disc. Plays like 6 times before you get to the film. Dude, you're not kidding. I paused it after the Studio Canal theme. It's 33 seconds in. They love to play that. I mean, I'll admit they have the best opening, I think, besides Vinegar Syndrome. Die Hard is a classic, definitely. How's that 4K, John? Thomas Anderson, do not get the 4K of Terminator 2. Stick with the Blu-ray if you got the Skynet edition. If you do buy this 4K, I'm going to tell you right now after we watch this how this Blu-ray is. And I'll tell you if that's the best version there is, because usually what I've been doing ever since the 4Ks came out is I watch the Skynet edition. It's actually the edition that comes in this set right here. So I'll be watching just the regular Blu-ray that came in these. That'll be the versions I'll be watching tonight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to catch it up to like where I first see the opening, and then we'll start from there because everyone has different versions. So you guys, like, if you're watching the MGM Blu-ray, it'll probably have that logo. This one has the Studio Canal logo. So I'll tell you where we're all paused up. And Shamrock Bros. Lethal Weapon is my first Christmas film. LOL. Shamrock, I just said the Fate the other day. I'm like, feels like a Lethal Weapon here, and I can't watch Lethal Weapon without watching Lethal Weapon 2, 3, and 4. So usually I wait every other year to do Lethal Weapons because, yeah, even though it's kind of not a Christmas movie, it's got Christmas stuff in it, and then that leads me down to Lethal Weapon 2, 3, and 4, which is, hi, Bobby. Bye, Bobby. Love that. Tell him Freddie said you. Tom Sanders said I meant for Scrooge. Oh, dude, the visuals on that 4K for Scrooge are unbelievable. Some of the best. I really am shocked at how good they are. It has a couple faulty scenes, like 2 or 3, but other than that, stunning visuals on that 4K. Audio is really good as well. I haven't checked the extras yet. That still have to do before the review. I paid full price of 4K when it came out. Freddie, so did I, man, twice. The 17-year-old Blu-ray collector wrote, I'm doing the original Blu-ray from Lionsgate. All right. So I'm going to tell you guys in a second where I started up. Tell Fretzy wrote, I'm at the Carlaco intro. Okay. I'm definitely reading that wrong. I'm sitting a little bit away from the TV here. So digitally, thanks again for the code earlier, John. No problem, Rogue One. I'm glad that you can watch it with us. We'll do the watch long. Thomas Anderson's Road. Skynet edition for T2. That's the version I usually watch, and this will be the first time I watch this Studio Canal Blu-ray, not 4K. Lord Raven wrote, I've got like 3 or 4 versions of T2. TriStar for Rogue One. So, yeah, I have 3 versions. I have 3 versions. I guess actually I have 4 versions of T2 here, but I used to have also the Extreme DVD. I had this on VHS. I've owned this on almost every single version you could imagine. So it's unbelievable how many versions of T2 I actually own. I think Studio Canal did a VHS transfer back in the day too, or somebody. So I see what you were saying. You're up to the Caraco logo, the one with the bunch of C's. Yeah, I'm just at that now. I'm going to tell you guys where I'm paused at in a second. All right. Mine says I'm pausing it where it says Mario Kazar Presents. That's where I have it paused. So once you guys are all there, then we will start her up. Let's see. Shamrock Balls wrote, I have T2 on VHS, DVD, 2 versions on Blu-ray. Shamrock, I'm wondering if you have that Studio Canal version from the 90s. It's either Studio Canal or it was a different company. I can't remember. I think it was Studio Canal though. Lord of Rain, the Terminator TV show is way better than it's given credit for. 100%. The Sarah Connor Chronicles was a great show. Very underrated. Fox just had no faith in it. They kept moving it around and never had any time to settle. Austin Powers is here. Hey, John, just joined in just now. What's up, Austin? We're going to be watching Terminator 2 right now. If you want to watch it with us, we got another couple minutes. If you want to load it up, we're up to the part where it says Mario Kazar Presents. That's where we're going to start it, buddy. And Shamrock Balls wrote, near certain I've also a Region 1 DVD too. Oh, Shamrock. Sorry, John. What medium from the 90s DVD? I think that they had a Studio Canal version, Shamrock, from I just trying to remember. I think it was a Studio Canal VHS. It was definitely like a studio that still makes movies today. And I was like really surprised. And I don't have the VHS now anymore, but I just remember that if there was a version made by one of the boutique labels out today. I just can't remember which version it was or what company it was, rather. Kevin Kroger wrote, I love the Terminator video game for PS5. Kevin, they're the same company that just did the RoboCop game that just came out, RoboCop Rogue City. I bought that last week. And my God, if you love that Terminator game, you're going to love Rogue City, except you get to be RoboCop in 1980s Delta City. So you'll love that game as long as you're a RoboCop fan. But it's fantastic, Kevin. Austin Powers wrote, "Sure thing, guys. I'm getting the streaming stuff prepared." All right, we'll wait a couple minutes for you, man. Tell him Freddie sent you. Said, "I love the new RoboCop game too. It's incredible." I mean, obviously, it's not like the greatest game ever. It's not got like all the bells and whistles of a 2023 video game, but what it does have is a love for RoboCop, and that's really the most important thing. It's there for RoboCop fans. They're clearly RoboCop fans. They got most of the sound effects correct. You know, they got the matte gray Tauruses, the police chief, and his mustache. I love everything they did with the RoboCop video game. It's one of my favorites of the year so far. I love the new Rogue One Road. Hey, John, what audio for T2 does the Blu-ray does it have? Let me give you all the audio options on mine, actually, because I can just get that right here. I'm very curious about that myself. Huh. Can't look at it. Oh, that's why. Let's see. And I don't want to go on the closed captioning. Where is the audio? Looks like it's a 5.1 DTS HD on this one. Yeah, which is what because I didn't get the Atmos track popped up. So, which is a shame, but I also have to watch it with these headphones anyway. So I won't be really enjoying the track for what it really is. Lord Raiden wrote, I got RoboCop Rogue City only because it was made by the Terminator company. Exactly. Like I was against it, but they did, like Kevin Kruger said, they did such a good job with the Terminator video game, and it clearly they have that affiliation like we do, that love for 80s like action, you know. So clearly they like the Terminator franchise, the RoboCop franchise. So that's right up my alley as well. Austin Powers wrote, "Okay, I'm almost done. All right, whenever you're ready, buddy, we'll get it started." Shamrock Balls. I can't remember as the VHS is in the attic, but the cover was sideways, and it always was Arnie sitting on the steel mill, pointing his gun out at Frozen T-1000. Weird cover. Yeah, that's actually, so that's a different one. I'm very curious about what version you have, Shamrock. I don't know which one it is, but that one sounds interesting. That's not the one I remember. Mine definitely looked like the T2, the movie poster, but it had like a gray frame around it with like a red stripe. It definitely started with an S. I just don't remember if it was. I'm pretty sure it was Studio Canal. I wish I still had it. I don't know where the hell it is. Rogue One 67. Interesting. There is no Dolby Atmos for the Blu-ray or 4K, I believe. Unfortunately, yeah, I don't think there was an Atmos track if I remember correctly. Did you play the Terminator game DLC? Lord Ray, no, I actually didn't. Unfortunately, I'm set. Let's do this. Austin Powers wrote, and then Shamrock wrote, "I'm curious now too." I laugh out loud. I must look it up. And Kevin wrote, "I have the RoboCop coming in the mail. A few days. Can't wait to play, dude. I'm telling you, Kevin, you're gonna love RoboCop. Uh, you know, it's not a game for everybody, but if you're a fan, let's just say you'll be in heaven." All right, guys, I'm gonna give us a countdown, and we're gonna start her up. So I'm gonna count down from 5, starting now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I got the score in my ear. There's the cars on the highway. Love that. Shamrock wrote, "Austin Powers. Yeah, baby. Yeah." James Helen, I've watched T2 more than any other movie, and it still never gets old. Jim, I actually think I'm right in line with you. I think I've watched this movie more than it's either this, T1, or Batman 89 are my top 3 most watched movies, 100%. Hell yeah, Shamrock. I love that opening. I love this opening too. That score, those little stings at the very beginning, the duh, duh, just sounds so great. Then we cut to this, and there's James Cameron with his blue lighting. He loves his blue lighting. 2029 AD, LA. You know, I thought when I was younger that it's impossible for LA to look like this, and only 6 years from here now. I don't know if they're that off. It'll probably look like that. Rogue 167. I'm looking at the many releases for T2, and man, the many releases are crazy, especially with the 3D. There have been so many. Kevin Kruger asked, "Did I like what they did with John Connor and Dark Fate?" You know, I didn't mind with that. It bothered me in the theater. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. You brought Edward Furlong back, and I get what they were doing, but I was pretty damn upset. Oh, I love this, rolling over the skulls and everything. But no, I personally was a little upset by it. But Dark Fate, I don't think was one of the bad sequels. It's not great, but it's also not as bad as the other ones. The sun glistening off the car, Shamrock said, "Oh, it's gorgeous." Austin Powers, nope, they did John dirty. they shouldn't have laid him out like that right at the beginning. James Helen, it's hard to pick between T1 and T2, but I think I go with T1 because of the Kyle Reese character. Yeah, Jim, I picked T1 too. Now, like looking at a scene like this when they're having this war, and my God, right now looking at this, the first time I've seen this Blu-ray, and it looks absolutely gorgeous. The neon bullets. I mean, this is what you imagine a future war looking like. Unfortunately, all future wars won't really involve humans. I'm pretty sure. Uh, but I have to pick T1 myself. Dark Fate is a solid entry, not perfect, but a decent at best. Yeah, Mr. Powers, I agree. That's the best way to describe it. It's not like offensively bad like Genesis, but it's nothing like too special. The fact that Arnold was what, a curtain salesman or a carpet salesman? Oh, there's Linda Hamilton talking. Yeah, haha, T2 is sick though. Kevin wrote, I would like Edward Furlong to come back in the franchise. I would love it too. I heard he's not doing too great. I would love him to clean it up. This is actually, it's funny. They never talk about this John Connor. This guy with his got looking, he's a pretty handsome fellow himself. Run down, ragged. I could see Edward Furlong growing up to be him. Love those uniforms. Shamrock wrote, I love when the foot crushes the skull and the camera pans up to that T-100 with the red eyes and scanning the battle. Oh, one of the best shots. And we're about to kick into some amazing opening credits. James Helen wrote, T2, T1, so gritty. That's what it is. The dirtiness of LA, those back alleys. And here's this Brandon Fidel score kicking in. Randy Time Stopper 3000. T2 is definitely an amazing sequel. Oh, it is. There it is. Look at that. Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Now, you can hear the little differences in the Brad Fidel score from T1 to T2. What do you guys prefer more? T2's theme or the T1 theme? Obviously, this one's got a little bit more. Still got the synthesizer, but they kind of add a little bit more of like that background noise, like the metal smashing together. Kind of, I feel like it took the 80s to the 90s is how I always felt about it. And then obviously the Burning Park. This is Judgment Day. That's what we're looking at here. This is the day it happens. Good bourbon. And then let's see what else. The music is legendary, James Hallen said. Yes, it is. Randy Time Stopper at 30,000. The greatest opening, logos and credits, badass. I give it a little bit of the nod when it's opening credits to T1 still a little bit more, but these are great. James Hallen wrote, I think T2. I agree. It's close, though. Shamrock Balls, T1. T1 is more raw. T2 is great, too. I feel it's more emotional. Yeah, T2 definitely, especially right at the point we are right now. Stan Winston, there's our boy. Like you can hear it's like a little bit more of like an operatic sound to the background, and this wasn't actually in the T1 one. The T1 was just more of the synthesizer. Rogue One wrote, rest in peace, children. They died full of themselves. They really did. Oh, man. And who's this right here? Jordan Mulraney wrote, the 4K release of T2 was awfully horrible because of the DNR they used was supposedly from a 3D source it was sourced from. I'm still not sure what Cameron will issue a proper 4K release of it. Man, knowing James Cameron, there it is, written by James Cameron. I don't know if we're going to get one anytime soon, James. Supposedly we're going to be getting the Abyss this year. We know not this year in 2024, but we're getting Titanic December 5th. If we really get the Abyss, then we'll be lucky. I'm really hoping the scan's done. We'll get Aliens. There's always those rumors that T1 will eventually come. Next year, it's its anniversary, 40 years. If we're going to get T1 on 4K, it's going to be in 2024, not, anytime after that. So hopefully they figure out this is beautiful, by the way. The garbage blowing around. This is a big upgrade from T1 to T2. Getting the lightning, in the first one, you can see that they just put smoke on the ground and then kind of just panned up on Arnold. Here, they got better effects. They actually are able to use CGI right there to get him in and then to cut off the corners of the truck. For me, that is just a beautiful image. They actually did this really well in T3 also. I can't sell that short. Kevin Kruger wrote, do you ever think we will ever get the redo 4K? Rogue One wrote, no, Kevin. And unfortunately, I agree. Maybe when James Cameron dies, they'll redo it. Like, the thing is, it's crazy because a respectable studio like Studio Canal, who works with Criterion, I very rarely ever see Studio Canal do a bad transfer. It really makes me wonder. And like James said, like it was taken from a 3D source. But how do you make a mistake like that? It's really unbelievable. And honestly, looking at this Blu-ray is really good. The only thing is, they definitely wiped the grain clean on this too. I'm not seeing much. Dwight Yoakam, Guitars and Cadillacs. The guy singing this song, he's in the movie Wedding Crashers and Panic Room also, Dwight Yoakam. He's the guy getting the divorce at the beginning of Wedding Crashers, and in Panic Room, he's one of the robbers. He's the one that's always fighting with what's his name? Lazy Eye. Why am I drawing a blank? You know what I'm talking about. Rainy Time Stopper 3000. I mean, what movie has a badass emotionally opening logo with the music and imagery? 100% agree. Come on, Rogue. Don't lose hope. We don't want to lose hope, but it might happen. Any complaints for erasing out Rob or Patrick's junk? LOL. I mean, I have a complaint about that. You know, I wanted to see the real thing. Thomas Ander wrote, man, DNR really screwed with these movies. Planes, Trains, Automobiles, T2, Predator, American Graffiti, in fact, and a 4K new release. You all will be sad. And yeah, that's why I didn't get American Graffiti. I heard that they screwed her. That doesn't surprise me. George Lucas directed that. And when they say, oh, George Lucas oversaw the transfer, I'm like, all right, we know what happened. This guy's about to eat it. I mean, regardless if he's a Terminator or not, that's Arnold freaking Schwarzenegger. Look at this man's body. There's no CGI on that body. I've actually fallen on a stove just like that guy in the past. It really does hurt. It wasn't on, though. It fell. Guitars and Cadillacs. Hillbilly music. It's been one of those days, folks. Reminds me of me, LOL. Man, this guy's, look at his thighs. Take it. This is what I'm drinking, by the way, guys. Bad to the bone. Only real men can pull off leather pants and a leather jacket like that. I always thought I would age into this look, but I really don't think it's going to happen for me. It's a nice bike. Bad to the bone. James Halloran, a liquid cop theme would make scenes so intense. Oh, it definitely would. Evil Dead 1996. Oh, yeah, the bad to the bone sequence. Yep. The way he snatches this shotgun from this guy, too. That's it, goddammit. It wasn't going to work for you. Now, Arnold is... This is like the peak of his looks. In T1, you know, they shaved the eyebrows off him. The leather jacket, you know, it's that 80s punk look, where here, he's a leather-plaid motorcycle riding guy. Ugh. Even on the Blu-ray, the DNR doesn't do this shot much favors, in my opinion. It does look pretty decent, though. Skin did look a little waxy there, I'm not going to lie. Don't go. Take the shotgun with you. Can't let you take the man's wheels. This is great. Now, I love old cop cars. Those square body cop cars. When they went to the round bodies, it just wasn't the same. But this 80s look, ooh, the blacks are deep. Even on a Blu-ray, this is a good looking, as far as the coloring goes. But yeah, there are some DNR issues on this Blu-ray too. So now, who do you think Robert Patrick is modeled after? Because when he takes the cop's uniform, he doesn't look like this cop. So he's got one standard look. You know how in T3 we find out where Arnold's look came from? Well, it's weird. Where did the look of this guy come from? Robert Patrick. Where did it come from? Who's the executive that looks like Robert Patrick? Thomas Anderson, definitely videos 4 out of 5. I agree. Definitely right now from this scan, 4 out of 5. It's got some flaws, but it looks really, really good. This is definitely the best version I've seen. I'd have to do a side by side, and I might. And here comes Robert Patrick. Jeez, he's perfect for this role. Ugh. Again, the blue lighting. See, it's not a filter. He just lit the scene this way. Look at those red siren. It looks great. I really have to admit. Kevin Kruger wrote, who is more badass, Sarah Connor or Ellen Ripley? Ooh. Now, here's one thing right here. This is how we know the movie takes place in 1995. He looks up John Connor. John Connor is 10. Now, Terminator 1 took place in 1984. Figure he's born in 85. There's his parents. So you got to figure this movie takes place in 1995, even though it came out in 91. It's never directly said. And speaking of aliens, here's the girl from Aliens. Just doesn't look anything like she did. But anyway, who do I think is more badass? I think that as much as I love Sarah Connor, Ellen Ripley was fighting aliens. Now, given Sarah Connor would probably have no problem either, I still have to give the nod to Ripley. She's gone head to head with actual aliens, and she's the only survivor in the first one, so that's impressive to me. Shamrock Bros, isn't the T1000 an advanced prototype? It is. He's not actually in the rotation yet. That means he's got some flaws. Well, we actually see some of his flaws with his feet, like turning into colors. This guy's an asshole in everything he's in, Todd. If you ever seen the movie Candyman, you knew he was cheating on Virginia Madsen's character from the very beginning. So he always plays an alien asshole. Edward Furlong, his buddy from Salute Your Shorts. Public Enemy t-shirt. Always jealous of Edward Furlong on that motorcycle. Shamrock, 12th, May, Thursday. The year! What is the year? Rogue One, John Connor is here. There he is. Now, look at those arms. You know, you'd think I've had all these years, and I'm still not even close to as good a shape as Sarah Connor is in this movie. Unbelievable. Dr. Silverman walking in. You know, it's funny because we like Dr. Silverman in the first one. You know, he's doing his job. You know, he's interested in the whole Terminator storyline and what's going on. But then he turns into such a prick in this movie. That's why you love it when he finds out what's going on. How's the knee? She stabbed me with a pen. Can you blame her? He was from the future, too. You guys know that. You realize now that Kyle Reese is out here somewhere. He's only 6 years away from being sent back in time. So if we do enough research, I actually work with a guy named Alex Reese. So damn. Maybe you should try believing her, Mr. Silverman. Sorry, Doctor. She's just out here. Dr. Silverrich replaced the B with B. That is true. And this guy's a freak. We know what he does to Sarah later. This guy with his freaking glasses. To protect and serve. Now, does no one realize throughout the day that Robert Patrick's driving around in this police car and he's not the cop? He's not checking in. No one realized the police car didn't come back and they'd be out there searching for it. Always was strange to me. Robert Patrick was a pretty good looking guy himself, too, back in the day. No, they don't seem like bad foster parents. They're doing the best they can. Big guy on a bike. Who do you think they're talking about? I wouldn't worry about him. Isn't that the same guy from Twilight and Batman? That's Robert Patterson or Patterson. How do you pronounce it? This is Robert Patrick. Pretty much, I get confused with that too. It's ridiculous that the name is so close. Now, I don't know if any of you guys have done this, but is this machine real? Way too easy to steal money, I feel like. And the amount they get out of this, they would never get out of my bank account. It would get declined just because of insufficient funds. Oh my bad. Kevin Kruger, do you know that the Terminator was based off an episode of Outer Limits episode The Soldier. I've heard that, but I've never actually watched the episode. And didn't somebody sue and actually win? Was it maybe the people who made the Outer Limits that James Cameron actually took, like ripped them off in a way? And they actually end up paying. I believe that was true. And there's the picture from T1. Shamrock Brawls wrote, "Did you hear the story? Robert was told to run as fast as he can to catch Furlong in the scramble, and he actually caught him." LOL. Yeah, actually, I did it. Apparently, Robert Patrick is just really fast. I mean, the way he runs is intense. I don't know how he does that. Keeps his face the same way. He's not breaking a sweat. It's incredible because I'd be out of breath and just on the ground dying. Look at the cars from the early 90s. Just gorgeous. Austin Parent. Damn, that's crazy. Involved Outer Limits. Yeah, I gotta actually go back and watch that episode, The Soldier, because I've never actually seen it. I've just read that on Wikipedia. She could see she's a mess right now. Shamrock wrote, "Yes, he won. They had to credit him in retrospect. It says with thanks." See? That's what happens. Now, I wonder if it's a coincidence or if it actually happened. Like, I've always wondered that in the sense, like, what if you come up with an idea, but the idea already exists, but it genuinely came from you? Like, I guess you can't prove that. They would think you ripped them off, but what if it was genuine? You know, what if I thought of the remote, but I wasn't aware that remotes existed? It's an honest mistake. John Doe Juggler, Robert Patrick's secret? He's actually a real Terminator. You know what? I wouldn't be surprised. The only reason why I would believe that, Mr. Juggalo, is just because I've seen how Robert Patrick has aged, and if he was a Terminator, his skin, although they did prove to us that their skin does age in Terminator Dark Fate. That's how they explain Arnold being that old. Ash, that cigarette, my God. This is a good Blu-ray, Shamrock. He definitely didn't let me down. Like Ed Sheeran, John? LOL. Ed Sheeran is a little bit more famous than me. Well, I don't leave the house without SPF 100, so I should be more prepared than most. Austin Powers wrote, "That's good to hear, at least in a way." Yeah, it's fair. If you made it, you deserve it. Yeah, that's true on Arnold being old in Dark Fate. I mean, it makes sense if the skin is living tissue. They always explain that it's living tissue. There's like blood like circulating underneath. So I don't know how they did it, but they have said in T1 that they grow skin for the Terminators. How you grow skin, I don't know, but they figured out a way, and that's what's living tissue on top of exoskeleton. So he should age. That's why he's able to bleed, but it's not much blood because it's not coming from an actual source. It's just whatever's on top. How they do that, I don't know. See, like even like the white, it says the slight blueness. Like that's white, but it looks very light blue, and that's always just something with James Cameron. Shamrock Balls right. I mean, about thinking of things you don't know already exist, or so she says. LOL. That's true. Austin Powers. That and also blood is seen in MK11. That is true. In I haven't finished. I know that the Terminator's in there, but when you destroy him, does blood come out, or is it just like a little bit of blood and then just a bunch of like exoskeleton everywhere? Because if they want to be realistic, that's the way you go. Kevin Kruger wrote, "Crazy that we are almost in the year 2029, the year the opening scene of T1 takes place." It's stunning. I can remember specifically watching this movie and thinking that is so far away. And the fact that we're almost just 5 years away from 2029 is insane. And here it is. This is from the original T800 from the first movie. We're going to be getting into that in about a second when we meet Mr. Miles Dyson over here at Cyberdyne Systems. Look at the old Pepsi can. You can see Pepsi had a product placement. Easy drinking a Pepsi. We see a Pepsi machine later in the movie. So Pepsi was making a big push in the summer of 1991. I have hope for them. I think they're going to make it as a business. Rogue Run 677. No, but it's ectoskeleton is playable also when near death, right, Austin? Huh, that's awesome. Yeah, I believe so. I gotta get back into Mortal Kombat. That's something else. Shamrock Bros. I know that for T2, they minimize the blood to make up so you can see the silver ectoskeleton more prominently. Is it ectoskeleton, endoskeleton, exoskeleton? I'm definitely saying it wrong. I think it's endoskeleton. Rogue 167. Damn, and Pepsi is sold at at my damn school for $1.50. My God, for one can of soda. That is crazy. This is the chip that was in the T1. We saw them taking this stuff away at the end of T1. We see that in the background. There's the hand, the thing that survived the press. You hear the score kicking in underneath. Sounds like metal slamming. Always hated that material on a suit. You know that suit's hot. Kevin Kruger, how far away do you think we are from creating AI as advanced as the Terminator? Now, I've always said I think we'll be okay in my lifetime. But I'm thinking about it. From the time I was born, it was in the infancy of the internet. Like I don't think the internet had fully launched yet. Now here we are, 31 odd years later, and now we have actual AI. So in that amount of time, so I have to figure in my lifetime we aren't that far off, and in all of our lifetimes from actual artificial intelligence that can be used as a machine like this. And clearly, we don't learn because we don't want to stop AI. We're full steam ahead with this, and movies like T1 and T2 they warned us, but unfortunately it's going to happen. We are definitely going to have a Terminator in our lifetime. We won't create it, but it will be our fault. 110%. Shamrock Balls Road. Isn't exo external like spider LOL? Endo internal. So it is endoskeleton then. See, I never thought about it like that, and you're 100% right. You're doing it in a literal sense. It is endoskeleton. John Doe Juggler. Oh, Kevin, I'd say it already exists. Yeah, I mean, from an actual killer machine, I guess we're not that far off with it already being here. Austin Paris. Kevin, I always say that AI is, yes, getting scarier and scarier, but we also should also know that there's people who are looking over AI right now, and they are trying to make sure nothing gets bad. Let's hope they take it seriously. That's all I ask. How long before AI kills someone? LOL. Well, I mean, we have these driving cars already, so we're already putting a lot of our fate into machines' hands. And we've become all right. This scene does not look too great on the Blu-ray right now. Color looks a little bit faded in the background, like especially on those cars. The lighting seems a little bit off right here. The brightness needs to be a little bit higher, at least for my taste. And how long before AI kills? I'm gonna say by 2030, AI will definitely get its first shot. I don't know how bad, but I'd say 2030. What are they playing here? Austin Powers. Right now, people are warning people about AI getting dangerous, and if it happens, prepare ourselves. But we shouldn't worry about the future and just continue our past. And I'm sure they stop being a thing. 2030 potentially. I mean, yeah, we can't really, in the grand scheme of things. Austin's right. We can't really worry about it. None of us are able to stop it if it becomes a thing. And to be honest with you, I am not going to be John Connor. There is no chance that I'm going to be involved in the resistance. I'll be one of the first dead. Just like if there's a zombie apocalypse, I won't be surviving very long. And that's a shame. But I don't really have that set of skills. So hopefully John Connor's real. Look for him and he'll guide us. What date, John? The date. You know, Shamrock, I did that. Me and Matt, when we were younger, we used to go into a 7-Eleven, any bunch of them, and we'd ask them the date, and we'd go, "No, the year. What's the year?" And the guy would get so confused. The girl. The things you do when we're kids. The colors look really good right here on this machine, so you can see that this scan is pretty good. It's got some flaws. Just the brightness on the Blu-ray. If it was just a little bit higher. This just shows you how focused the Terminator is. That's it. He's got his eyes on one thing right now, and that's John Connor. This is one of the best scenes in the movies. In the movie. Also, Guns N' Roses fans, remember this movie had a tie-in. So you'll notice right here that this is Guns N' Roses. He's got a box of roses, whips out, shotgun. It's in the music video as well. So, Guns N' Roses, 1991, probably the biggest band in the world. Them and Public Enemy. Austin Powers wrote, let's see. Kevin Kruger, how long before we see AI are actors? That we already have, and they're trying to put a stop to that from their scans being used. That's a practical effect on his shoulder right there from Stan Winston. Austin Powers, but all we can do right now is potentially think about it, but all we can do is wait and see. Maybe AI might not be worth the trouble, folks, potentially, but for now, let's just give up and hope or say. And I agree, Austin Powers. Let's make sure and say something stupid as we can't wait for now. Yeah, we don't know what's going to happen, unfortunately. We can't do nothing about it, so all we can do is just hope that it's used for good and not for bad. But it's like with everything in this world, unfortunately. We always think of the positives first, but we have to make sure that we plan for the negatives because it would always be used for the negatives. This really just shows you the weight of the Terminators right here. There's the Pepsi machine being just thrown into things out the window. This is the blockbuster moments that kind of take me out of T2 and comparison to T1. Like, that was for the blockbuster audience, the common audience that he looked at that. And it's like, oh, it looks like me. Wink at the camera. That stuff kind of does bother me a little bit in this movie. And he's running. And let's count along to how many times he upshifts on this bike. Can't start it. And this is the tension just building. Is he going to get it started in time? There it goes. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt for downshifting once. So now he's at about 7. Now he's probably downshifted there. 8. Now this truck is a throwback to T1. It looks very similar to the truck that Arnold's driving at the very end of the first Terminator. Skin looks a little waxy there. And there he is. There's our guy. So now we understand he went about 8 or 9 gears here. Now he's pretty much back in 1. I assume he downshifted, even though we don't see it. Now this, iconic. Off the bridge. To keep that thing going straight is impressive. You'd think the alignment would be a little loose. Kevin Kruger asked, how would you feel about Hollywood creating AI actors of deceased actors? That's a tough question because my heart wants that to be a thing. I would love my favorite actors when they're deceased to be able to still pop up in movies, keep the characters going that we've learned to love through the years. But on the other hand, it just feels dirty. It feels like they would definitely take away jobs from actors working today because they'll just always use those fake actors. They don't have to pay an AI. Yeah, they might have to pay like a certain amount to the estate, but that's not the same as like paying an actor directly. So I think that's a slippery slope. I mean, like, I like what they've done so far with actors in the Star Wars universe that have passed away, like Carrie Fisher or Peter Cushing's, but I don't know. I don't think that's something that I just feels a little dirty to me. Like I would love it. I like the idea of it, but I just feel like it wouldn't be used for good. I feel like the right play people wouldn't get the money. I feel like the studios would use it just not to pay other actors. So I don't know if that's a great idea, but I do feel like that's something that will happen eventually. Unfortunately. And Rogue 167 wrote awful. Yeah, that's how I feel it. Shamrock Balls wrote, I love the music when Arnie keeps off the ledge and grabs John. It's perfect. The audio design of this music, like Brad Fidel gets credit for the score, but the actual design of the music and where to put the score is perfect. Like right here. The tension. And as he hits, then it kicks back in. Of course, you can tell this is sped up a little bit when it comes around the thing. Mm-hmm. Can't get around. Oof. I love that bike. That's a custom shotgun for the movie. You can't really flip a shotgun like that to reload it. And here we go. Now, 1991, did anyone really think it? Now, they kind of made it look like Arnold now, but you used to be able to clearly tell that it was a stunt double for the fire. Ugh. Look at that. That's one of the most iconic shots in film. Kevin Kruger, why don't you like the director's cut of T2? No, Kevin, I do like the director's cut of T2. I actually prefer it. The reason why we're watching the theatrical cut is just because it's more readily available. I felt like, on streaming, they always have the theatrical cut, but me personally, I would watch the extended director's cut 100 out of 100 times. I think the scenes that are added actually do benefit the film. They don't take anything away from it. It's just that the theatrical cut is more readily available, and if you're watching it in 4K, the only thing that's transferred to 4K is the theatrical cut. Director's cut isn't, but I would usually watch the Skynet edition with the director's cut if I was watching it by myself. But I just figured for everyone's benefit, we'd watch the theatrical cut. But I absolutely prefer that. Love this scene. The bullet holes in his jacket. I always get upset because that leather jacket is nice. Hair looks good here. In this scan, it looks like real hair. So they captured that. Kevin Kruger wrote, isn't there 3 cuts of the movie? I believe there's only 2, from what I understand. There's the extended cut and the regular cut. If there is a third cut up, I don't know it off the top of my head, but there could be. But usually I watch the extended cut that's usually included. That I've been watching that was first, I believe, included with the Extreme DVD. That was that old metal casing that came out back in, I want to say, like 2002, but that was the main version I used to always watch. Who sent you? You did. From years from now. 35 years from now. So I guess we're saying it's 1994. Because 2029 would be 35 years from 1994. And we know he's sent back in 2029. There it is, advanced prototype. So they're that desperate that they have to send back an advanced prototype. It's in the last phases of being a prototype, but they don't have enough time. We got to get that T1000 back in time to fight the T800. And T800, an insuperior. What do you think the T900 had? Do you think it had some liquid metal, like in certain ways? Ooh, smart. And this is where we just get full-blown 1991 here. It just shows you that John still has a heart, even though he doesn't really care about his step parents. Obviously, he's Still, though, he's got a heart enough to want to actually call him. Now, she's a Terminator. I guess she's just trying to throw off her husband. But why is she making dinner? She's a Terminator at this point. Plus, he has those moves. That is correct, Rogue One. The T900 was Sylvester Stallone. Sham, I should have known you'd kick in with that. She's never this nice. See, I have a German Shepherd, guys. But I do not call my dog a worthless piece of shit because she is not. Yep. And he's dead. Hey, Janelle. What's wrong with Wolfie? Wolfie's just fine. Yeah, menacing. Kevin Kruger wrote, I Googled it. 3 cuts, theatrical special edition and special extended edition. Well, Kevin, I'm going to have to look into this now because I got to know what I've been watching for all these years. That's something I made a mistake on. Holy shit. I have to see what the difference in the cuts are. I only thought there was 2 cuts. That's my fault. Okay, on this Blu-ray, that looks gorgeous right now. That blade that she turned her hand into, I don't know why she's staring at it. I mean, I guess she's new. She's new to it. But I'm going to have to look into that, Rogue One. That's awesome. Thank you. Shower Balls, do you think the T1000 was a good cook? Honestly, Sham, based on what I saw there, I hate celery, so I can already tell she has bad taste. But she should know what she's doing, or he's doing, or what it's doing. Can make itself sharp objects only. Rogue 167. Oh, on the original DVD. Rogue 167. Rest in peace, the Foster parent. He's dead. Yes, he is. They're both dead. And to think about it, like, you know, they do seem like dicks, but they don't seem like bad people. They didn't deserve to die. There he is, our boy. After he killed 17 police officers that day. These guys look like cops. Mustaches. They definitely look like they've been drinking coffee and smoking cigarettes for 15 straight hours. Shamrock Balls. There's a cut with the deleted ending restored, but I think it's unofficial. So okay, so maybe that's the third cut because I do know about the third, the difference in endings where they actually age up Sarah Connor with that horrible makeup, although they weren't that far off. So maybe they just edited that in, and that's the third cut because the cut I know is the one that has the scenes where they turn the brain onto the Terminator so that it can learn, you know, with the double mirror scene where we have Sarah Connor, Linda Hamilton's actual twin sister. She's used in that scene. That's the extended cut I know. And then there's, I think it's like 12 minutes or 17 minutes of extra footage. But maybe it's the one that's edited in. I'll have to look into that because I wasn't aware of it. Maybe that's the first extended cut. But this Blu-ray, guys, is really impressing me. Right now, it does look pretty good. It does have some DNR issues and like the 4K. But because they don't jack up the brightness so high, it doesn't look as bad. Is it better than this than the Skynet edition? I have to do a side-by-side comparison, honestly, to get a full, you know, feel for it. So the only way I could do that is just like put one disc in after the other. Rogue 167 wrote the DNR isn't that noticeable. Yeah, you're watching the version I am, Rogue One, I think. Yeah, it's not as bad on the Blu-ray. The 4K, when they jack up the brightness, it's a lot more noticeable. But on this Blu-ray, for the most part, only on certain scenes, like right here, the scene with the T1000 and Edward Furlong talking doesn't look bad. It's crazy. This guy was like my hero when I was a kid, Edward Furlong. I don't want to end up like him as an adult, though. No, Rogue One, I think you're right. It's not that bad. Kevin Kruger wrote, do you still have your VHS and DVD copy? Unfortunately, so what happened to me when I was about 18 years old, my parents are divorced. And at the time, my mom was going through some stuff. And I left my mom's house when I was 18 years old. I moved with my dad for a little while. And I left most of my stuff there. So all the physical media I had, except for my CDs at the time, I left there and I never saw it again. So I had a huge wrestling DVD collection, a huge DVD collection, had some VHSs. I lost it all that day, unfortunately, when I left, and I don't know what happened. My mom said she still had it, but my mom's moved so many times since then. So I lost everything that I had back then. My extended DVD, which my extreme DVD rather, lost that. It's a little bit disappointing because I did have a really nice physical media collection before I turned 18 from when I was growing up. But yeah, I lost everything I had before 18 except for my CDs. But my car got robbed when I was at work once. Me and a bunch of people at my job, we worked at a supermarket. Some guy went down the whole line, stole out of all of our cars, and they took all my CDs. So I lost all that then. Fuck me? A dipshit? So I lost all that stuff pretty much, and then I started over. So I don't have my VHS and DVD. I would love to go back and eventually, when the time is right and the finances are right, I will go back to my VHS and DVD. Look at this, is so 1991. Look how this guy is dressed. Now, the colors on their shirts, like you could tell, like, in a real 4K, that red and yellow would be a little bit more enhanced if they could just do. That's one way where you could definitely clean this up. But I am impressed with this Blu-ray and this scan. Like Rogue One was saying, the DNR, it really isn't that bad here. On the 4K is when you'll notice that it's a lot worse. This kid has a bodyguard. Yeah. Imagine Rogue One. Imagine if you had a Terminator. You see, they're trying to show you that John has a heart of gold and that he cares about people because he doesn't want to see people die, even if they're bad people and they're pissing him off. Although he was a little off on that. He was misjudged those guys. He was kind of using his ego a little too much. But still, he doesn't want to see people die. And that's how we know that this is John Connor, our John Connor. And Edward Furlong is still the best John Connor. Forget all his personal issues since this movie, after American History X and Detroit Rock City. He still turns out the best John Connor performance we ever got, bar none. And I wish we could have got him in T3. He's got his personal issues and stuff, and that's what prevented him from ever coming back. They were able to do some mocap stuff for Dark Fate. Like you can see the fingerprints on the back of that car. This is a really good Blu-ray scan. I really don't want to sell it short. I have my issues, but it's nothing too crazy. Imagine getting strapped in like that at night. It looks awful. This fucking guy. Like, you're an animal. You bought those glasses, those soda pop glasses. Look how thick those are. They're as thick as mine. And you lick a woman. That's just so disappointing. Luckily, I'm not the boss on that ward because he would be fired. Oh, sick man. I agree, Rogue One. That's fucking gross. See how you can see the blue lighting that he likes to go for? He likes that clean look. This is where it's so different from the first Terminator movie. Like, everything is a lot cleaner in this movie as far as looks go. When we get in the first Terminator movie, everything is very gritty and dirty, very lived in. It becomes a lot more cinematic in T2, which is not a bad thing, but it's one thing that I would give the edge to T1 for, is that gritty, dirty, nasty look of LA. Like, yeah, it's LA, but we're in a bunch of different places now. Obviously, it's that blockbuster thing. We got to turn everything up. Love that checkered pattern floor. T1000's here, and he means business. Ooh. This lady made a mistake with her haircut. But you know what? She probably doesn't have enough time to concentrate on her haircut. She's a working woman. Probably, I imagine this job has long hours. Dr. Silverman's tired. It's nighttime. Do you have an endoskeleton? No, I don't actually. Like, there's a lot of memorabilia I wish I could have. Really, actually, it's funny because you can see that's really all I have. I have the Batman. Funny story about the Sopranos picture. If you guys see this right here, when I got my first apartment, this picture had already been hanging up in it. That's the one thing they left behind. And it's funny because we moved out of our apartment, and my mother-in-law actually took this picture from the apartment. I did, and I figured, you know what? It was with the apartment when I took it. So I figured, I'll leave it for the next person. But my mother-in-law took this picture out of the apartment. She ended up giving this back to us like a few weeks ago. So I thought that was pretty cool. I thought this picture was gone, but I don't really have too much memorabilia. Again, like, it's kind of hard to tell even from this like angle that you guys see me at. If you pay attention to the feet, you'll see the first floor of the T1000. So just pay attention to that. But anyway, so yeah, I was able to get. I don't have too much memorabilia, mainly because I don't have too much room. Let me see if I can get the camera. Like, see some pictures right there, and some stuff on top.